Rich here. The next part again is common web parts and what's built in, what we have for you guys. A lot of these, all the web parts that were in previous versions of SharePoint are there. So none of this stuff is going to be too much of a surprise. It's just kind of like an overview. Web parts, also known as portlets, widgets, or gadgets, they provide new functionality when added to a page. So everything you've seen so far, where you have a page, where you have a page viewer as a web part, the calendar that's sitting on the page itself is a web part, the resource links, those are just different web parts that we're surfacing on the pages. And again, if some of you have been using SharePoint for a little while, you'll know how to add, and we're gonna go over and look at some web parts on your site shortly. So apps, each app instance you have added to your site has an associated web part. The app web parts enable you to add, view into the data or your apps to a web page, excuse me. So say for instance that you have a document library or even the calendar. You create a calendar, but it's not by default going to view on that page. So you have to use a web part to view that particular calendar on the page. That's all it is. It just surfaces your libraries on a page. There are blogs that will help you provide a web part for blog sites. Mike is going to go over little blogs later. Are you going to, if you have time? Well, if we have some time, we'll go over blogs. Some of the common SharePoint web parts, content rollups, which contains web parts that are used to roll up or aggregate content, such as content queries, display timelines, showing relevant documents throughout the website. Forms, which are web parts that allow you to embed HTML or info path forms on a page. Media and content web parts, which we use a lot for images, videos, as well as displaying Silverlight applications. Please don't use Flash. The OCPS does not support Flash. And here's right to the demo. All right, let's see, let's go to your Giants page. Okay, so this is your site. If you go ahead and hit edit the page, you guys will go ahead and follow along real quick, just so I can break down and show you what each thing is. When you edit the page, you'll see the different web parts that are contained within your wiki page. So this particular site here has got one called school announcements, which is this web part is tied to the announcements library. And you can tell it's a web part because if you hover over the title bar across the top, you'll then see the ability to edit the web part. So this is where you control the web part itself by how it's viewed, whether you want certain columns to be viewed or not. You're just going to control that from here. So by default, the announcements has a lot more columns shown in the library, but I didn't feel it was necessary to show everything. So what I did is once you go into the web part and you edit the web part, on the right hand side you'll get the options for that web part. If you click on edit the current view and click OK, you're going to see all the columns that are available to you, and that if there's no checkbox in it, it's not being used. I'm not using it, any of that information to display on that page, because for what I wanted it to do, I didn't need all the other information. You can control the sort. So by this, I'm showing the newest on top. There is no filter. I'm not filtering anything out. And this is where you get down to, you can use some really cool stuff. Like if tabular view, that's that little checkbox to the left of it. I don't have it on it because I don't want that on the front page. I don't want people clicking on things that they don't need to be. So I just turn that feature off. Limits, right now I have a limit of 30 to be displayed at once, which that's kind of a lot for announcements, but usually the announcements are going to expire before they grow to that much anyway, because when you make an announcement, you're going to have a start and end date for announcements. So usually before that time, it's going to be gone. But if you choose, you can come into this part right here and just say, you know what, 30 is, we have a lot of announcements. I don't want 30 displayed, I only want 5. So you go in and you change that. And then once I click OK, obviously there's no information here, so it won't show anything anyway. But now, if there's 15 announcements, only 5 will show, the first 5. Again, same with the school calendar. These are just web parts viewing these things. Let's go. I know I have. Is it? Yeah, we do. Okay. All right, so this is, we're going to go and have some fun. On the top, your top page, you can stop editing. You just hit save at the top right-hand corner. I want you to go back to the top level, and we're going to go and set up your newsletter page. So in your resource links on the right-hand side, you should have a link that says newsletter. Go ahead and click on that. And by default, you shouldn't see a whole lot going on there. It actually shouldn't have anything on the page right now displayed. Okay. Is everybody there with me? So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a page viewer to display and an archive to show on the right-hand side. So what we're going to do is, if you're on the newsletter site, I want you to go and click on the left-hand side where it says Site Contents. And find the library that's called Newsletter. Or Newsletters, sorry. Everybody get inside that newsletter library? All right. Okay, good. So in this library here, we're using metadata to group things. So year, the source, basically, whether it's a newsletter source or the current newsletter. So when you upload a newsletter, you're going to do it twice. You're going to upload it, the PDF, and we're always using PDFs. You're going to upload the original one with the original name, whatever it is you call your newsletter, with and use the title and name it and upload it, and you'll have the ability to add a school year. And when you upload the original document, you want to call it newsletter in the category. So once you call it newsletter, we're going to use a content query web part to display that on a page. So the query will look at the library, look then at that category and say, even though you have 50 documents in here and 25 of them say newsletter in the category, I'm only going to show the 25. Does that make sense? And then at the top here, you're going to upload the same newsletter up again with this name on it, current newsletter, and let it replace that one. And what that'll do is, and I'll show you once we get to the page, it's going to replace that document, so you never have to actually go to the newsletter page to display that one in the window, that page viewer. So as long as you keep it the same name, it's not going to affect anything. So what I want you to do here is I want you to come to the one that's called Current Newsletter. I want you to right click on it, and I want you to copy the shortcut. So right click on Current Newsletter, copy shortcut. Now once you copy the shortcut, I want you to go back to the newsletter page, and you can just do the back arrows to get you back to that newsletter page. Or if you are not on the newsletter page, you can click on the right navigation there. You'll see newsletter. Now what I want you to do now is I want you to come up to, are you there? Okay, click on edit the page. And when you edit the page, you'll see an existing page viewer there already, and it will say it's obviously it's not connected. Click on it to open up the to edit the web part. So go ahead and edit the web part. All right, so everybody should see the page viewer controls on the right-hand side. There's a box here that says, right in this location here, where there's for links. I want you to right-click in this box here. Well, first of all, sorry, make sure it's empty. Delete anything that's there. Then after you delete everything that's there, right-click on it and paste that URL that you just copied. So in that box, right-click, paste. Okay. I want to make sure everybody's with us. Okay. So after you do that and you right click and paste that URL, you want to come up into the appearance area, make sure it says current newsletter, because that's that title at the top left hand corner of that area. And you want to come over here under height, and you want to specify a specific height. So I would say click yes next to height and make the pixels, you can probably make it 850. And what that does, it's approximately the size of a page. So that will, yes, if you have 3 pages, you'll scroll within that, but it'll at least show 1 page. And then click OK. Now once you click OK, you should be able to see your newsletter on the page showing, if you did it right. Anybody have a problem with that? Okay, go back to where you were. Go to the newsletter. Did you not copy the shortcut?
I did.
Okay, so then edit the page. Edit the page. Scroll to the top. Edit the web part. You see, you didn't remove everything that was in there. And then click OK. And hit save. Oh, and we didn't do the, you didn't set the, expand the height. So edit the page. Edit the web part. Go under appearance. And then say yes to height, and then I think 850, and then OK. There you go. So we got now. Everybody should have their newsletter, or a dummy newsletter sitting on your front page, on your newsletter page. So what? Yes.
I noticed you have folders in there, but how, like, the viewing of that would be really small for someone.
You have the ability to. Did you not?
Just change this one.
No. What have we got going on here? It's split.
Yeah, I split it just the same.
What you're gonna do is probably the plus signs to make things larger.
It is easier than ever before to insert PDF. That's sweet.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes, but you can control that. Okay, so now we have our current newsletter viewing. So what now we're gonna need to do is we have all those. Yes.
I was half gonna write, but I can tell you that I had mine correctly done correctly, 100%.
Okay.
Look what happened. It just disappeared. It just flashed to.
Save it. It'll show. It'll come.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's right.
Yeah, you got your. You did all that yourself?
Yeah.
The query?
Followed you.
Well, there you go. Okay. So what we need to do now is we're gonna on the right hand side we're gonna edit this page again, and we're gonna add a content query web part on the right hand side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna delete this one so you guys can follow along. Now, just a quick note, when you delete a web part off a page, you're not deleting anything from a library. You're just deleting the web part. Okay? So if you don't think that you're deleting anything in that library at all. It's just removing the web part. Okay? All right, so we all should be in edit the page mode right now here on the newsletter. On the right-hand side here, we want to add a content query. So click in the box here on the right hand side and click on the insert tab at the top, and you can see you have your options here to add web parts, and that's for every page. Everything's going to be the same. You have the ability to add tables, insert an image, audio, video, links directly, an upload file. You can embed code if you're good at coding. You can do that as well. Not recommended for the novice. What I want you to do now here is I just want you to click on the web part link box here, and I want you to go down to the media and content category. Let's see, actually, I take that back, sorry. The content roll-ups category. Yeah, well, it's been a long day. And then when you're in that, you'll have some, here are the web parts themselves in these areas here. Click on the content query and click add. And now we're going to have a query web part right over on the right hand side. Has everybody got the query web part there on the right hand side?
Not yet. Sorry, we got some.
That's okay. Now, some of you may have this already done from their school that somebody else came previously, but you're just going to follow the same exact steps. Are we set? Still working on it? Now edit that page and let's add the query content query to the right hand side. Not edit here, hit cancel. Edit here. Now you're already in edit mode, so fine. Here, now click here. There you go. Insert, web part, roll up to top. Content roll up,
I thought it was media.
query, and then add. There you go. All right, so everybody has the content query. All right, so now this is where it gets kind of fun because we get to dig down with the query. Hover over the content query web part, and I want you to drop down, and I want you to edit the web part. Huh? It's wrong? Why is it wrong? First of all, hit cancel. You guys are working on the same page, so that's why you're having the problem.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah, no. Have one of you do
Maybe
it.
it's going to interfere because
Oh,
we're
yes.
both on the same.
Yes, let's delete that. All And let's just go and save what you did at this point. Let's merge changes or discard your changes. And now let's go to the newsletter page back. What is that? All right, go ahead and hit save. And then hit override. No, you didn't hit override.
Out of here.
Yeah, click out of there. Close. So what we're going to do here, and restore last session. Close you. Let's go back to your site. Mhm. And newsletter. All right, so now you're both on the same thing. So which one of you guys going to do the work?
Shit.
All right. So let's remove this. Delete. And we're going to add that web part back in.
I just coached.
Insert, web part, roll up, query, add.
That's because I already have.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get rid of it. Save. What I want you to do is type in this question mark, just the question mark, contents equals 1. Enter. Yeah, so it's not that good. So we just got a hiccup in here somewhere. Insert, web part, roll up, query, and add. There we go. I'm going to edit now. All right. So now everybody should be editing the web part content query. In the top option, you'll see the link called query. Click on query. And then click on show, browse where it says show item from the following list. It'd be the last box. So you want this one right here that says show items from the following list, and then click browse. Now when you browse, you're going to see this is the structure of your entire website. All right. So what we want to do is we want to find that library called newsletters and click on it once and then click OK. So what we've just done is we've told this web part to look in this newsletter library. So now what I want to do is you're going to scroll down a little bit and you're going to go in the additional filters. And you're going to click on additional filters and you're going to say look in the category, because that's what the category is, what I called that column where we're going to put newsletters or newsletter. So we want to show that archives. We want to show the archives, so we always want to only show the one that we listed as newsletter. So right now, category is equal to newsletter. All right, so now yes?
Upper, lowercase?
Doesn't matter. No, it's not case sensitive. You'll have a presentation area. Click on presentation. Because a presentation, we want to group. Remember, we had a year. So we want to use a grouping, and we're going to select that column we called year. And then you want to make sure you're doing it descending so it has the newest or the newest year on top. Now sort, you can do a couple ways. I again prefer doing it having the descending as well inside the group. Now this here, for some schools, I don't know if a lot of schools have more than 15 newsletters a year. But if you do, I do definitely recommend taking this checkbox out, because if you have more than 15, then what happens is it's not going to show the 15 after 15. So take that checkbox out. Over under Appearance, click Appearance and change the title from Content Query to Newsletter Archive. You can keep everything else by default there and click OK. Now if we did it right, we're going to see all the documents that were called newsletter in order of school year, newest to oldest, on the far right hand side. Did anybody not see that? Make sure you scroll all the way to the top. Everybody see their newsletter archive? Sweet, you just connected a Content Query web part all by yourself. Hit save. Save your work. And you are done. The one thing that's nice about this managing, like I said, when you manage your newsletters, all you have to do is upload the document twice. One called current newsletter, all one word, so it replaces the original one, so it shows in this window you created. And then the second one with the name of the article and the name of the newsletter here, so it shows up in your archive. Does that make sense? If you would do me a favor and just refresh your page, I want to make sure that's not an issue over there. Just hit F5 or refresh. There we go. So you see the same thing. Good. All right. So you guys have done two things. You've done a page viewer web part, and adjusted the size and copied in a link to it. And you can do that with any web page. So say you have a web page that you want to display. This is exactly how you're going to do your tech requests. That tech request you have on your sites, your internal sites. Just get the URL to that tech request, make a page, add the web part, page viewer web part, and use that link to the that you copied, paste it in that same area, adjust the size of the window you want, and you're good to go. You've now put your tech request right on your page. It's the exact same thing, no different. Any questions about web parts? Cool. We should have no problems with this class. All right. So that is web parts.